Another video here. Had a gentleman ask about how linkage works. I got the shifter on. I don't know, you can really see that there. There's the shifter. Got that mounted on the, I guess that's the E-body mount for the shifter. The A-body mount was up here, or B-body, and I had to shave that off to give it clearance in the Valiant for the cross member, because the tunnel and stuff was so narrow compared to the original 3-speed transmission in. And the engine I'm putting in, that engine and training I'm putting in the Valiant, it come out of an 80 or 81 pickup truck, and it's got the A833 overdrive deal in it. So this is basically a 3-speed with the overdrive, or just, you know, whatever, 4-speed, whatever you want to call it. Depending on the trainee, as far as linkage, depending on which one. I know this one, this back tab on top in the middle here, that's 3rd in overdrive or 4th, and this is 1st and 2nd. And depending on, I don't know, I might have to flip this one to get 1st and 2nd right, because some of the pictures and some of the information, some of them had the 1st and 2nd one down, some of them had it up. Same with all of them. I had to find tabs and stuff that would fit and line up with these either, because the original shifter tabs were missing, so I collected a bunch of them and got them together. So as far as actually functioning, I'm not sure yet, because I haven't had it in a car and tried to drive it and stuff or anything yet. So got a Hurst shifter. I forget what model it is, but it's supposed to be for whatever. So I got the shifter on the E-body mount. I looked around for kits and stuff for the E-bodies and stuff, and they were like $150 or something like that for linkage, but I made these. I just took old ends and stuff off the ones that I had, got some Schedule 40 tubing, bended them how I needed it, and on most of the Mopars I've noticed, especially in the cars, your first and second, third, fourth shift, they go over top of the cross member, depending on where the cross member is and stuff like that. So the way this car's set up, the first 2 rods, they run over the cross member, and the way the hump's designed that I'm welding in, it allows room for the 2 rods to slip over the top of the cross member in the reverse rod. And it's shaped kind of goofy, because it goes under the cross member where the training mount is. You got your training mount here, and it's all tied in with the cross member and the torsion bars and all that stuff in that. So basically, how the linkage works, you have your shifter, and your linkage is going in the bottom of your shifter, your little clips and pins. And where a lot of problems run into, if they're binding or whatever, these little bushings that slide into the holes there for the ends of the rods. A lot of times these wear out, they fall out, they break, do whatever, and these holes get oblong. These don't fit right, clips won't stay on, whatever. A lot of times I've used cotter pins because these little clips sometimes decide to take a hike. But as you get your linkages on, we'll get the first and second rod on and make sure these holes are true. If not, you get new tabs or weld them up and re-drill them. But, you know, they got a little bit of play in them, but they should be fairly snug. And the same with the shifter, on the tangs on the shifter. They're liable to wear and stuff out here. And you get your pin, you get your little bushings in. And we'll get the front rod hook on here. Get one of the little Jesus clips here. Okay, there's one. You go back here to the shifter, you get your bushing in there, you make your adjustment where your linkage just slips in. Get you another Jesus clip or cotter pin. Get it in there. Now on the hearse shifters, I got a place where you use a 1/4-inch dowel. This is my little deburring tool or whatever with a little Scotch Brite. It's got a 1/4-inch shank. Got a notch right here in the bottom of the shifter. I don't think you'll be able to see it too good in the camera, but there's a little notch there, and there's holes in each one of these, and then there's a alignment hole in the back there. You can get it in there and you can get it locked in there so your shifter don't move. Make sure your transmission's in neutral. That'd be 3rd or 4th. There's neutral. There's 3rd. And you can hear the detent in there. So it only goes so far one way. You got your neutral. You got your next gear. And you get it in the center, that's neutral. Same with that one. All the way forward on this one's neutral. That's the reverse rod. That'd be in reverse. So that's forward. So spin tranny, make sure. And the tail shaft. So we're in neutral. So first thing you do, get your shifter on, get your pin in there, lock it in so it's center, set everything at neutral, and get your rod set up, and you're good to go. Then get on the next rod, do the same thing, get your little bushing in there. Get your rod in. Get your clip. Get your clip slid in there. And this one's in the center. Shifter tang, and get up in there and run your threaded adjuster out until you get it in there. Okay, I think we got it close enough. Put that back into neutral. And we got it all lined up again. Okay, we got it all lined up again. And the same thing with your clip. And you can kind of see how that clip is. It's kind of twisted out of shape there. So when you want to put it on, you want to get that in there. So when it squeezes, it holds all that stuff down and it holds it in place. Little bends and kinks. That's why sometimes I go ahead and use cotter pins instead of these. So we got the first, second, third, fourth rod on for overdrive. Depending on how you want to get picky about it, it's still 4-speed. What they basically did, they took their 4-speed 833. It was a mainstay 4-speed from the 60s all the way up into the 80s, 90s. It's been Chrysler's go-to for many, many years. The only real differences I've been able to find, like for the Hemi cars and stuff, they got the bigger bearings and stuff in it, and the input shaft's different, and it's just a little more beefier. They use this transmission mainly for their 4-speed stuff. And do the same thing with the reverse rod. Get it in your shifter. Little Jesus clip on here. On the front one here, you'll be able to see a little better how to get that in there and run it up here. And that's what the threaded part's for, so you can run it this way, back, forth. Get it lined up in the hole good. It's sitting on the floor there. I might not be able to get that in there quick. So I'm sitting at a funny angle in there. Usually it's a little easier to put them on underneath, depending on which way the holes line up. Okay, so we get the clips in there. Yeah, definitely be here. There we go. And bear with me here. Yeah, that'll be good enough for purposes. So there you go. Basically got everything all lined up here. Everything in the shifter, figure out. And then you pull your rod out. And we start going through the gears. We got first, second, and there's reverse. right, okay. Okay, so now we're back into neutral. I'm going to go first, second. Oh, maybe I got this thing backwards. Yeah, I think I got the rods backwards here. That's saying it's first. That's second. That's supposed to be third. That's supposed to be fourth. So we might have something goofed up here. Yeah, I think I do. I got these two rods swapped. That's no big deal because I can just switch in real quick. Been a while since I had it back together. I don't remember which one which. That guy going the outer one. Get the clip back on there. And get that one up in here. There it was. Okay. Okay. Now if you want to, get everybody back in neutral. Line everybody up. Okay. We got her in neutral, so everything's in neutral. Check training, yeah, it's in neutral. Okay, and the only other adjustment you got your stops. You got one on the front and one on the back. So when you go into reverse, oh, my Jesus clip just popped off here. Okay, so that would be reverse. And to bring it back out, you pull it forward. There's first, second. There's first, second, third, fourth. So that kind of helps. You know, first, second, third, fourth. So everything should be hunky-dory. And this transmission, you've got to push it down to get it in reverse. So there's your reverse. Okay. And first, second. Damn it. Okay, now we got first, second, third, fourth. And it goofed up now, yeah, so I had to reverse it there. But you can basically kind of see how the linkage works. And of course, with it not being in a car, there's reverse again. Okay, so there's neutral. There's first, second, third, fourth, and we'll get it back over there and get it back in reverse. And then run it forward. That was actually. Yeah. So depending on your linkage, if you're having problems with linkage, usually have it at these points, unless something's bent. Don't have your stop set right, either on the front or the back. I don't know if you can see them. There's one stop, that's the forward stop, and that's the back stop. So any other adjustment you do, you want to go first, you want to set that stop to where it's not, these are set pretty good. And if you go through the gears and you push or pull on the, you don't want to see any deflection in your linkage. And these stops are set pretty good. And then the same with the reverse one. I didn't have the clips on here good. Probably got to put a washer or something in there to level that out. That one might need a cotter pin in it. I'll pull it in the washer. But just make sure your bushings are in good shape. You got new ones, got your clips or cotter pins, whatever you're deciding to use. And that would be reverse back. And the pin holds in it for a second, third, fourth. So if you're having problems with the linkage or whatever, kicking out of gear, something like that, it's really important. There's only 3 detents in here. You got forward, middle, back. And the same with this. And you got 2 here. You got forward and back. So if it's wanting to kick out of gear, or not engaging in gear, or whatever, it's probably in the transmission. Maybe your shifter's a little sloppy. Hurst sells rebuild kits and stuff for these, or you can send them back to Hurst and they'll rebuild them. They're not real hard to take apart. I mean, there's only a couple bolts or whatever, and they got a roll pin in them you knock out, and you just gotta remember where the little PC parts and stuff goes in there. There's like spacers and goofy stuff in there. It's been so long since I had one apart. I never really had a problem with Hurst shifters. Usually I've been on cars and they outlast the cars usually. If you're having any problems with the deflection of your, because you're only going to go so far in your gear when you lock into either first, second, third, or fourth. So I hope I covered that for the guy that was wanting to see how the linkage worked. It's just, you just got to make sure you got the reach one, make sure you got your right shifter for the shifter pander you got, because those vary a little bit. It's mostly reverse. It's either over and up to the left. Some of them's all the way over and up next to third. I've even seen some that you can pull it back in by second, but usually it's usually over by first. And if you're going through the gears and stuff and you're going fast, you may kick it over going into third and throw it in reverse. I've seen that happen on shifting too, but most of your problems, it's either where these in here, they got like a little flat shoulder on them to index them where they need to be. So if you got slop in there when your linkage is going back and forth, it might not put it in the index right. Shifting forks, synchros, all that stuff in there. Most of your shifting problems will be on the inside here, whether these bushings here in the case are wore and it wobbles. The shifting forks could be wore. The detents in the case or whatever, and the springs and the balls or whatever they use for the detents in there, they could be wore out or misaligned or whatever, bent, stuff like that. So, most of your shifting problems are probably going to be in with like shifting forks and synchros and stuff like that. If it's kicking out of gear, don't want to go into gear or whatever. But yeah, just as long as you got enough throw on your linkage, these linkages could be 10 foot long. I mean, and you're only going to move them ½ inch either way, so you got like a 1.5 inch throw there altogether. So you got neutral, that'd be second, and that'd be first, and that's all the further them move. And if you get that critter out of there, I can't get my finger in there. And I could show you on this one. Yeah, that's like on a reverse rod. That's all that's going to move. And you can hear it lock. There we go. And you can hear it lock in. But yeah, that's as long as the throw goes. So it's not gonna, and there's nothing here to lock you in gear. It's all, everything's right in there. It locks everything in gear. This is free floating back in here. That's when you got the rods off. You take these rods and move them anywhere you want. It just depends on where you get the index and how they're indexed where they go. And your neutral. So I hope that covers it. Anybody's got any more questions, give me, send me a message or something on YouTube. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.